Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Before we begin this video, of course, once again, you're gonna need your tech glasses, whatever kind you wear. You wear shades, you wear regular glasses, you wear stunners, you wear gunner glasses, whatever. Go get them and put them on. Okay, you got them? All right, let's get into it. Okay, so this is gonna be my review for the PlayStation VR. Okay, now before I begin this review, I'm gonna let you guys know off the bat, I do not be on that pony powder. You understand what that is? Okay. Let's not get too silly because this should be taken seriously because I really want to talk about this. Okay. Before I begin this review, I want to make it clear that I do not own a PlayStation VR. So let me make that clear for some of you out there, because some people, when you do a review, they want you to own it. So I'm gonna get all this disclaimer stuff out of the way. I do not own one. However, on numerous occasions, I've got to try one, and I just borrowed one. And I played with it and I took it back. And I'm going to be honest, it's a good reason why I took it back. So let's get into this review. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about everything. Let's get it all out of the way, okay? In the background, of course, is Arkham VR. So I'm going to talk about that. Now, I don't know the names of the games offhand, but I'm going to just talk about the games. You'll know. But I really want to talk about the VR itself and not actually the games, because I do have a problem with that portion of this review. Okay, so let's get into it. First of all, the VR. I'm going to be honest, man. I was very impressed. I honestly was really impressed with this VR. Well, let's get into why. First of all, I'm going to have to do a separate video debunking some of the stuff that I see online about the VR headsets, because a lot of it is actually not true. So I'm going to do a separate video talking about that. But for now, I'm just going to stick to PlayStation and talk about what surprised me, the good things, the bad things, all of that. So let's start off with the weight of the headset, because that's actually important. The weight of the PlayStation VR headset is actually extremely light. In fact, it's probably the lightest headset out of all of the headsets, and I've tried them all. So that's a plus for the PlayStation VR, because it actually looks like it's going to be the heaviest headset, but turns out to be the lightest, which is actually something that I thought was pretty impressive, considering it has that back piece that looks bulky and it has that front piece that looks heavy. It's pretty light. When you pick it up, you'll actually be surprised right away when you pick it up at how light the actual headset it is. It is a helmet, and it gives off the impression that it's going to have the weight of a motorcycle helmet or any type of helmet you've put on your head. It's surprisingly much light. It's almost like you don't even feel it. Now, let's continue to talk about the helmet before I get into anything else, because there's a couple of things you may need to know about this helmet. First of all, every time I tried on this helmet, I had on a hat. So you can actually wear a hat with the helmet, and a lot of people don't know that. Now let me explain how that's possible. I wear a brimmed hat. As you can see, I wear a lot of brim hats. Snapbacks, of course, you know, keep it new school. But anyway, I digress. Let's keep it on point. You can just turn your hat to the back if you don't feel like taking off your hat. And that's what I did. And it actually felt very comfortable. I was shocked. Glasses. Now let's talk about glasses, because some of you people wear glasses like when you game. I'm a person that likes to wear some kind of eye protection when I'm getting ready to rock out. I wear eye protection. That's not a go. I haven't really seen any headsets where glasses were comfortable with the headset. I mean, depending on the size of your head and everything, you might get away with it. But as y'all can see, I got a big ass dome, got a big head. Wink, wink. No, I'm joking. But yeah, if you have like glasses on, it's not comfortable. There's people saying that it is, and I don't. Nah, you don't really want nothing interfering with under that helmet, because you have to get used to putting on the helmet. That's another thing. Is the helmet comfortable? No, it's not. I really haven't put on any headsets that were comfortable. The reason that the PlayStation VR helmet is not comfortable is because right here on your nose, depending on how you put the helmet on, is going to affect how you view the game. So you have to put it on a certain way in order to view the game properly. If you don't do that, then you're going to get a bad experience as far as the viewing of the game is concerned. So once you put it on properly, it can be a little bit uncomfortable in the nose. That's a bad thing, but the good thing is, after a few minutes, once you get used to it being on your face, it's like having on a big pair of glasses or something. You will get used to it. So it's not something that is permanently annoying throughout the whole process of the game. As you can see in the background, when you play Batman Arkham VR, which is the main game I played. I played 3 games mainly, so just look get that out of the way. I played the one with the FPS robot. I forgot the name of it, and I played another one with some kind of tank because I wanted a diversity. I wanted like the best games that they had to offer. Now I didn't try Until Dawn, which I heard was a good one, and I didn't. And the reason I didn't try Until Dawn, and I'm gonna get into that why I didn't, because I want to talk about why headsets are making people sick, and this is of course my belief because I'm not a doctor. But I digress. Let's stick to this. Once you get past the initial first few minutes of the headset feeling a little bit awkward and uncomfortable, when you start looking at the graphics in the games, which is something else I'm going to talk about, you forget about. You forget about the headset being on your head. You forget that it's there, and you start getting caught up in getting immersed. Now, the main thing that I noticed with all the VR headsets is they do a good job of immersing you in the game, so you won't have to worry about that part. But when you get immersed in the game, you kind of end up spending a lot of time doing that. So you'll notice that if you have an objective, you will be taking your time to take in the sights. Now, let's talk about the graphics for a second, the display itself. Now, the graphics, I've been hearing so many bad things about the graphics. Now, keep in mind, I've been following PlayStation's VR headset since it was first announced, and I've been trying it out at various places, but I wanted to wait until the retail version came out before I gave a full review on the product. Like, I wanted to see what everybody was going to get, not a juiced up version, because there's a little component that comes with the headset that I thought maybe they could juice that up. So I waited till the retail version was out, and I honestly could say the graphics are way better than what people are giving it credit for. If you're used to PlayStation's 1080p graphics, the headset matches. It's not bad. Like, they're saying that and this is on the regular PlayStation. I did not try this on the Pro. I actually want to see what the Pro is going to be like, because this was on standard PlayStation. So the graphics are pretty impressive. It's up to par with regular PlayStation games. People were saying it's not as good. I didn't see that. Like I said, everything I played, the graphics were right up to par with any other AAA game that I got from my Sony PlayStation. The Arkham VR, which is the main game I'm going to talk about, is exactly like the graphics on Arkham Knight. So I don't understand what people were saying about the graphics. That is not true. Graphically, the games are very impressive. Now, immersion is a key thing here. It's very important that I stress that it is very immersive. The games have a lot of tech-related features where you do things to see how the VR works, and when you do those things, it'll give you an idea of how Batman works or whatever character you're playing with works, and the interaction is what makes you feel like the character, and it's really cool. Now, the thing about VR is when you're doing stuff like when Batman goes to put on his uniform, you actually feel like you're really putting it on. Like when he puts the helmet on and the way they fade the blacks and the whites, and the way they play with the tech, it makes you really feel like you're doing the stuff that you're seeing. So that leads me to the next part. The experience of the PlayStation VR is excellent. However, though, the games are kind of like the problem for me. The games that they have right now are all pretty much tech demos. You just like move around and look around and wander around, which is like kind of like time killing. It's like tedious time killing, but it's enjoyable. So I don't want to make it sound like it's boring. It's not boring, but this is where I got to get into the honesty about the headset itself. The headset is not boring and it's very immersive. However, the problem with the headset is that it's not something you'll want to do all the time because it's so much work you're doing. It's the kind of thing where if you play with the headset for about 30 minutes to an hour and you put it down, you may come back and find yourself playing regular games without the headset. Or games that you don't need a headset for. It's something that you have to be in the mood for. And for that reason, that's the only negative I have to give the PlayStation VR headset. I had it. I had a lot of time with it, and like I said, I was just taking breaks, not wanting to play with it. There was times I was like, oh, okay, you know what? Let me go try this, and I would go try certain things, and I would be over it. So I'm not saying that the PlayStation is boring. The headset is boring. I'm gonna say that it's kind of the thing that you gotta be in the mood for. It's like a novelty. It's not something that you'll get up every day. Like if you're a gamer, a hardcore gamer, you're not gonna get up every day and go and put on your headset and play a game. You're gonna do it once in a blue moon when you're in the mood for it. Now, I'm not saying that it's not worth getting. I'm just gonna say that until they make games where this function is utilized better, it's not something you have to go get right now. But it is something that if you have it, it's a cool toy and it's something that you will play with. But it's just like any toy that you play with. After a little while, you'll put it down and move on to the next one. So with that being said, for it being $500 for you to get the actual headset, the move controllers, and the camera, that's kind of an expensive toy for something you're not going to play with, even though you're going to play your PlayStation in between. So I don't know if it's something that I would say I would run out and go and get, but if you do have the money and you're into tech and toys, this is a cool ass toy. I'm gonna admit that a lot of the things that you're hearing about it are not true. If you want it for the purposes of, okay, people saying things like the light is shining in under the helmet, that is not true at all. The light should never be shining into the helmet, distracting you. Actually, when it gets pretty dark in the visor, it feels like you're in a dark room, even though you could be in a well-lit area. It's that immersive. So the people who are saying that, that is not true at all. If you're noticing something like that, that means that you can't even see the display, because that means you have the headset on wrong. And if you have the headset on wrong, you're going to know because everything looks blurry. So until you put the headset on, pardon me, correctly, you're not going to be able to see anything properly. So you'll know when it's on properly because everything will look clear. Because if it looks like it's bad graphics, those are people who didn't put the headset on right. So this is part of the reason I'm going to make another video, and I'm going to do a myth busters video explaining all the problems with VR that people were having, because that was what was wrong with it. So with that being said, yeah, if you have any issues with the VR as far as like what you hear on the internet, I can tell you none of that's true. So with that being said, let's talk about some other stuff. Okay, as far as the games are concerned, I'm looking at looking at the panel. The panel is a minimum of 90 hertz to 120 hertz. And I'm pretty sure 120 hertz is something you're going to get on a Pro. You're not going to get that on a regular. The display is an OLED. So for you people that keep hearing about OLEDs, you're going to notice the reason that that was important is because when the screen gets really dark, it actually feels like it's so immersive, and the darks are so good on this display that when it gets dark, you really feel like you're in a dark space. Like with a game like Batman, once again, there's times when he does things and it gets dark, and you're sitting in a well lit room, and you're like, oh shit, man, like how did it get so dark? Like what happened? The light, I can't see no lights anywhere. So no light leaks into this headset. I have to express that enough, because you really feel like you're in a dark area, even though you could be sitting under a lamp. Literally, that's how immersive the headset is. Now, as far as the degrees, the game is 100 degrees, like 100 degrees, 360. If you look around, as far as you can look, you can see something on a display, and everything is detailed, which is very impressive for the PlayStation to do that. I'm actually impressed. Now, as far as the box is concerned, let me talk about that, because there's a couple things you need to know. Whenever you start the game, it has initial setups for you to set the game up. It is a little bit annoying that you have to do that every time you want to play a game, but I promise you, it's painless. It doesn't take forever. It doesn't take a long time, but it's annoying. I'm not gonna lie. It's annoying that you have to do that. As far as the box is concerned, there is a smaller peripheral that stands next to the PlayStation that looks like a mini PlayStation, and it could be a little annoying because you have to find some way to put that box. Now, as far as HDR is concerned, yes, HDR does not work with this peripheral, and it's one of the drawbacks for me, because as you can see in the background, I do have an HDR TV, and the display itself, I'm not sure if it's HDR, but it being an OLED, it should be able to support HDR, especially as how dark everything's getting, but they have not implemented it in that device, which means that I think they'll have to make a new add-on for this already just to add HDR. So that's a minus for me. Outside of that, my only other minus is the game library is just not something I'm interested in. The games that seem interesting are very short, and you don't want them to be long, because if you start playing for long periods of time, you start getting affected by rapid fatigue, which is something that it seems like you feel like you're really doing it, so your body is actually getting tired. You know, you're sweating. You know, all of that happens if you play for a long time. People are telling me no, no, no. But I've been asking everybody, I've been seeing for myself. Everybody's telling me that no, no, no. But after I watched them play for an hour or two, they look like they just got finished driving in a construction derby or a race. They look like they were running down a mountain when they take off the headset. And it's like, see? So it does kind of fatigue you. So these are things you have to keep in mind. Now, as far as the experience, it's a great experience. It's very different. It's a gaming related experience, but it's something like we've never seen. Me personally, I feel like we need this headset in order to advance gaming. So it's a cool tech that I think everybody should at least try. Me personally, do I think you should get it? I think you should get it if you like what the games have to offer. Check out the games. Personally, I do not like what the games have to offer, so I will not be buying this right away. But the minute they get a game that I like, then I know they're on the right track. I will be picking up this headset. Now, this coming from somebody that is not a Sony pony once again, I have to admit, congratulations to Sony for releasing a great piece of hardware. It's one of the best pieces of hardware I've seen. Does it compete with Oculus and Vive? A lot of people are going to say, of course it doesn't, but I'm going to tell you, yes, of course it does. The reason I'm going to say that is because PC, and this is not a knock at PC, because as you can see, I have my PC in the back. Teletran 2 is what I call that. PC has a lot of games that are just not interesting to me, and PlayStation seems to be catering more to the AAA crowd, so they're releasing more intriguing games. So to me, that gives it a right to compete because graphically, the display is a 1080p display and it looks good. Now, as far as the Vive of course is a better display, but then it doesn't have the same games. And most of the games that are being released for PlayStation are timed exclusives. However, PlayStation is getting them first, and of course, PC is getting them later, which means that this is helping PC to get better games. So if you want to wait and get it on PC with a little bit better graphics, then you can. But me personally, I would say that definitely, this is the place to start doing your VR at. Now, before I leave, I'm going to say I'm going to do another video talking about the comparisons and the busting the myths that you hear about these VR headsets, because there's a lot of those out there and none of them are true actually. So I'm going to talk about the main ones that I hear. So I'm going to let you guys know what's true and what's not true so that you don't let those things hold you back from getting your own VR headset. So once again, this is my review for the PlayStation VR headset. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm out of here. Peace.